I love how in the middle of everyone being heroic summoning their fairies, you have this girl just acting super emo and almost depressing about it. Was such a just slap to the face in like the best way. I was like, okay, this is what I'm expecting. And then she just does that and I'm like, you just sucker punched me in a way that I was not expecting, but I love your character so much. And I love the, kind of almost necromancy level magic that she kind of radiated from summoning her demonic beast to just, honestly, at one point when Kelvin basically took her skill, I mean, she went down for the count, but she seemed rather flustered, as she said, you basically made me dirty, and she seemed to enjoy that a little more than I was expecting. But what an episode of Black Summoner. As I keep saying, this show is continuing to surprise me. This is legitimately one of my favorite shows of the season. For pure entertainment alone. It's not trying to be groundbreaking with story or character development so far, but what it's trying to do is be solid and honestly pretty damn amazing in the areas that it's focusing on. And sometimes you just need a good adventure show that isn't trying to be groundbreaking, but what areas it focus on, the action, the mechanics in this world, but most importantly, the main character's personality and drive. If you really flesh that out, you can have something that's truly amazing. All things considered, with, I think, a show many people walked into, not expecting a hell of a lot. But I think Kelvin's battle junkie persona is amazing because it's not just he's this battle junkie who puts himself in harm's way and puts others in harm's way and, his party kind of gets roped along reluctantly. His party legitimately feels pretty damn similar to him. Now, he's a battle junkie in a league of his own. Let's not kid ourselves. He is in a league of his own for desiring battles. But Sarah, right? I mean, she very much is pretty close to Kelvin in terms of, I want a good fight. She's eager to jump off that couch and go kick some ass. She very much is probably the most similar to Kelvin. Best knight over here. I think he's a little lower than both of them, but still desires a good brawl. They do poke fun at Kelvin being a battle junkie, but it's not to say they themselves don't have that same itch. It's just to different degrees. The only one you could probably argue isn't the biggest into battles and only does it when she has to is our elf over here, right? She very much is in love with Kelvin. It's pretty damn clear if you ask me. And nonetheless, he's the one who saved her. So she does what he wants, but it never feels like she's being pulled along in a way that makes her miserable, just more so she raises an eyebrow maybe more than the other two when he does go a little insane. But it's not to say they're being dragged along and doing things that they don't want to do, right? So in doing so, you don't have this toxic environment. You have a dude who's just craving the best battles. And what's the best battle he could probably have? Well, going up against the heroes. Easily takes care of the bandits. There's that whole political ramification about can you really do to certain people, especially given, different governments or different kingdoms, it can cause a big turmoil, so if you send the heroes to do it, they're kind of that neutral party, it just works out a lot better. And as the end of the episode pops up, yes, they could have had a conversation, but this is Kelvin, he's a battle junkie, so he wanted to test their skills. He was never going to kill them, he was never going to hurt them so he can never adventure again. He just wanted to fight someone who has similar skill sets to that of his own in terms of these heroic boosts, because that is a fight that is absolutely something he desires. And of course, he would do it single-handedly. And I love the fact that there's a moment in this episode. It's very quick, and I think people aren't going to look at it too much. They're just going to say, oh, the heroes are, the generic, they're trying to be goody two-shoes. But if you look at what Kelvin says and does in this episode, he casually, as he's whooping their ass, teaches them how to use their skills better. He says, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Why aren't you dual wielding, right? He's basically giving guidance because, one, he probably wants to fight these guys again someday when they're stronger. Right now, that's just a casual appetizer just to test their strength. He wants them to get to max level so he can whoop their ass in a real way. But he's not going to go kill them. And he's not going to say, you guys being heroes is wrong. He literally says, what you're doing is perfectly fine and exactly what you should be doing if you're heroes. Just don't put your ideals on me. Because he's a guy who's casually adventuring and going to fight things. He doesn't want responsibility. He doesn't want to have to do things that go against what he finds fun. But he's not going to say, oh, because, Toya or whatever his name is, he's that kind of generic hero character trying to go kill the demon lord and, he's basically just very headstrong, doesn't think things through. There's room for improvement, but he's not going to say him wanting to be a hero is a bad thing. And I think that's what I think is really great about this episode is that he's not someone just trying to say, I'm going to tear the heroes down because I hate their ideals. Nothing wrong. And that's what I've been saying in the videos. What they're doing is perfectly normal and what the hero should be doing. Kelvin, when he was summoned, and pretty much from episode 1, we knew what he was gonna do. Very different, right? So I like the fact that he just kind of like, he teaches them, he trains them, but then he ends in a way that I imagine the whole stripping thing isn't because he wants to see them naked, but I have a feeling it's something to do with their armor. Like he wants to make something, because he just made out of Sarah's kind of like godfather, guardian, whatever you want to call it, this gauntlet that allows him to steal skills if he touches, right? So I'm wondering if he wants like the hero stuff so that they can like, you know, maybe he'll make something else or something like that. Or maybe he just has the demon eyes. He's like, you know what? I deserve a reward. Who the hell knows, right? But I have a feeling based on the fact that he just recently made something out of someone's armor, I wouldn't be shocked if he did something similar here. Whether that's for them or just himself, I don't know. But it'll be fun to see what happens. I just love their end of the episode reaction of just blushing from a distance. But that was what was really fun about just the structure of it. Like the motivations, the reasons, and just the fact that Kelvin remains to be such a likable character. He's a battle junkie, but he's not an evil bastard, all things considered, right? He's just someone who enjoys a good fight, and a good fight is what he got, even if he did casually crush them. I think what I love the most is that this was one big action episode, right? So it was constantly evolving in terms of what was happening. And it was cool to see how he dealt with each one of them, like from just being super fast and touching their skills and stealing them, to when he actually gets captured, he ends up creating a brand new skill. He uses his golems to kind of cause a distraction, and as we see, he gets out of it without much struggle. What I did like and appreciate is even though he was clearly stronger than all 4 of them, I'm glad that they did have moments where things were on their side, like things were working out, right? There was moments where he was caught off guard. He visibly like was showing that he was caught off guard, and sometimes the characters themselves would even say, oh shit, they actually got the jump on him. Never to the point that you're like, oh, he's gonna lose or he's gonna die or anything, but more so, it was nice to see because these heroes aren't weak, right? It's just, we have a battle junkie. We have a character who grinds and just, like, searches for battles in ways that no normal person who's trying to survive would. So he has way more experience, right? So when you look at what they're doing, they should have powerful skills, stuff that he may have never seen, or just because naturally, because they're strong, they should be able to get a jump on him from time to time. And they did that all throughout the battle. There was one moment where literally our girl jumps out of the couch being like, can I finally join in? Can I finally hit some people? Before he obviously deals with it himself. And I think that's what made it a very fun episode, is that it was well animated. There was a lot of variety, from ice attacks to summoning creatures to just your typical like, okay, yeah, swordplay, punching to the face. I mean, my boy doesn't discriminate. He literally punches anyone out cold. I mean, the girls got knocked in their stomach and face, to just seeing the final blow, just the dude get launched in the air. The man had fun, and in doing so, I think taught the heroes a valuable lesson about where they need to improve, but most importantly, showed them that they have a long way to go if they ever want to deal with the Demon Lord. Which, honestly, I've seen so many people over the week say, like, honestly, Kelvin could turn out to be the Demon Lord and we wouldn't even be shocked, which totally makes sense in my opinion. Sure, our girl has the potential to become the Demon Lord given who her father was, but it's still up in the air who actually will be that when the time comes, right? And it'll be fun to see what happens, but leave another episode of Black Summoner with a grin on my face. It is fun, it is charming, it is badass, and you don't see Battle Junkie anime enough, and when you do, it's never to this degree. I'd go as far to say, this is honestly probably like my favorite persona in terms of battle junkie in like a isekai fantasy world that I probably have seen. And if this is only a one and done season, it will be a damn shame because there's a lot of potential for this world, and I think the adventures that they'll go on could easily entertain me for dozens of episodes without much struggle. But of course, I'll pass the torch over to you. What did you think of this episode, and what do you hope to see with next week's episode? Do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.